you did entrepreneurship early in your career,
Mm,
or at least
mm,
early midway. Can you
mm.
and you said very educational. It didn't end as successfully as you'd like. And I'm sure there are a lot of people curious about kind of the entrepreneur's journeys. Maybe I'll ask you about that. So how was that? Any crucial lessons you learned, and what did you do? I mean, what did your company do? What was the business all about?
Yeah, so a bit of background. So before the business, I started the business. I was working for a New Zealand startup, right? So this company was called Wyard Group, and it was a spin-off of New Zealand's Microsoft, right? So firstly, a few things like where is New Zealand for a lot of people thinking, um, and then also what's this New Zealand's Microsoft, right? So of course, New Zealand's like this country that's kind of in the bottom at the bottom of the world, even more down under than Australia, right? And when I first started at Wynyard Group, my CEO told me, "Well, New Zealand is like this trial market for companies, right? So if you're a energy drink maker, what you'll do is you'll release the energy drink in New Zealand, and then if it does well, then you can try the other markets, expand to Australia and the ASEAN and the other markets, or
Yeah, New
but if it
Zealand
doesn't,
tends to be a test market for
correct,
many
correct,
advanced economies, from what I heard.
correct, correct. So that was the briefing I got from my CEO, and the company was a spin-off. I think it raised like 100, 200 million New Zealand dollars. So this wasn't, a small company. And but it was a spin-off of New Zealand's Microsoft. They were called Jade Software Corporation. So Jade Software Corporation is a company that started back in the 60s or something like that. And they had their own programming language and own, frameworks and everything like that. And based in Christchurch. But anyway, they had a few products around logistics and case management, and they spun off a basically what tried to be a turnkey competitor to Palantir, right? So if you can imagine Palantir, doing all this fancy data, and now it's AI, but it was just data analytics for CIA, FBI, yeah, all those agencies. It costs a lot of money. Defense can afford it, because they've got a lot of money. But what about other companies? So I think Wynyard Group tried to be a turnkey Palantir, and had some products that were quite impressive, at least at a demo and proof of
Were they
concept.
also targeting? Because I know Palantir tends to veer towards defense
Mm.
and security. So was that also the target industry, or more of a broader base?
A bit broader, but including that as well. So if you look at Wynyard's products, the existing products that Jade had that were spun off into Wynyard Group, and then there was a brand new product. So the existing products were a case management product. So you can imagine for police, and if any body or organization does investigations. So in terms of government, you're talking about police, you're talking about other investigative bodies like things like a financial crime investigation, or things like I'm trying to think of those mind block, but I'm trying to think of those SEC and organizations like that do investigations, keep case notes, and then want to produce a body of evidence that can go into some sort of more other thing like a case or trial or whatever, right? So that's that investigative case management product. It was used for other things like even for NGOs to investigate child what do you call it, child trafficking and things like that, right? And then also commercial investigations, right? So investigating people, background investigations, other types of investigations as well. Then you've got a governance, risk, and compliance product. Was the second product. So we're talking about, sounds very boring, but basically, managing risk in a corporation, right? GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. And then you could kind of merge those two. You'd get like anti-money laundering as well, right? Anti-money laundering. And then the new product was something called advanced crime analytics, which was meant to be the competitor to Palantir. If you can imagine, audiences, yeah, for the older people in the audience, you remember the show CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the memes or the tropes was, zoom in, enhance, right? Or you have this network of people, and then you'd find these links between people, like hidden links and stuff like that. So that's what Palantir is, right? You can zoom in on something in a network, and then you can do all these operations. So ACA tried to be that, and it was based upon Jade's own database technology. It was an object, I'm getting technical here, but it's an object-oriented database, which kind of for a long time tried to be was one of those alternatives to SQL or relational databases before NoSQL was really big. And it worked great for, if you can imagine, for demos and POCs. If you did I've got a network of subjects of investigation and their bank accounts and their cars and their assets and everything in a web, it was great to do a query that consisted of maybe 3, 4, 5 hops, between the network, right? But once you got beyond about 6 or 7, the performance just dropped. And so it was really great as a startup to be a demo and to try and compete against a Palantir, but it was just kind of limited by its database technologies and maybe a few other things once things got really into production. But ACA, Advanced Crime Analytics, was that really fancy CSI